Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're unpacking a really brilliant piece of historical wisdom today. We're looking at the classic tale of Tenali Rama and the search for the most valuable thing in the world. So, let's jump straight into the ancient royal court of King Krishnadevaraya and see exactly how this fascinating dynamic unfolds.
Picture the scene for a second. It's a totally typical day in a grand, bustling royal court. The courtiers are just going about their daily business, hashing out state affairs, taxes, kingdom logistics, all the usual stuff. But suddenly, out of nowhere, the whole routine just grinds to a halt. King Krishnadevaraya stops everything. Not with some new royal decree, but with this incredibly profound philosophical challenge. The vibe in the room literally flips from administrative to deeply intellectual in a heartbeat. And here is the exact mystery question the king posed to his court. What is the most valuable thing in the world? Now, I actually want you to pause for a second and actively guess the answer alongside those historical courtiers. Seriously, think about it. If a king, a guy who seemingly has access to every single luxury on the planet, asks this question, what would you say? What is the one thing that tops absolutely everything else? Well, the standard courtiers, they did exactly what you'd expect. They immediately jumped to predictable materialistic answers. One guy shouts out, gold. Another confidently chimes in, jewels. A third courtier, probably thinking he's being super strategic, answers, royal power. But the king was completely unsatisfied. He just looked at them with pure disappointment because, frankly, these answers lacked any real depth. They were exactly the kind of surface-level responses you'd expect from people blinded by wealth. They totally missed the deeper human condition. And right on cue, this is where the famous, witty advisor, Tenali Rama, steps in. Seeing the king's sheer dissatisfaction, he didn't just blurt out another random guess. Nope, he purposefully delayed his answer. He looks at the king and says, Your Majesty, I will give you the answer tomorrow. Now, Tenali Rama wasn't just stalling here. He was actually preparing a brilliant, hands-on, experiential lesson. He knew perfectly well that some truths can't just be spoken out loud, they literally have to be felt. So, the very next day, Tenali Rama invites the king to a specific room in the palace. And this wasn't just any room. He had set up this incredibly luxurious space. We're talking mouth-watering, tasty food, perfectly chilled water, and basically the most comfortable bed imaginable. To the naked eye, it looked like the ultimate paradise. Tenali Rama was essentially handing the king everything a person could possibly physically desire, all the comforts of endless wealth, right there in one room. The king steps inside, probably expecting, a lavish presentation or maybe a quiet, cozy spot for a philosophical chat. But then, the trap is sprung. As soon as the king is inside, Tenali Rama shuts that heavy wooden door from the outside and locks it tight. And just like that, suddenly that luxurious paradise is transformed into a gilded cage.
Now, I want you to notice the psychological timeline of the king's confinement here, because this shift is fascinating. Let's walk through it. For the first hour, everything is totally fine. The king rests peacefully. He's got the comfy bed, the beautiful room, no problem. But fast forward to hour 3, and those basic human needs start kicking in. He wants fresh water, he wants to walk around freely, maybe he just wants to leave to use the royal restrooms. And by hour 5, total, absolute desperation. The overwhelming need to simply escape just takes over. The fancy food and that plush bed mean absolutely nothing to him anymore. Sheer panic completely replaces comfort.
So the tension peaks. The king is banging at the door, yelling for help, demanding to be let out. And from the other side of that thick, locked door, Tenali Rama delivers this incredibly calm, deliberately provocative question. He just asks, Your Majesty, the room has everything. What else do you need? It's such a brilliant psychological mirror to hold up to the king. He has the gold, the jewels, the royal bed, the tasty food, literally all the stuff the courtiers were guessing just the day before. The king screams back his answer, I want to get out. If you let me out, I will give whatever you want. So, the crucial point is right here. Really think about what just happened. The absolute ruler of a vast empire just offered to trade all of his royal wealth, all his gold, all his jewels, and all his power for one single thing. He just wanted someone to turn a key and open a locked door. All that royal wealth meant absolutely nothing in that specific moment. Tenali Rama finally unlocks the door. The heavy wood swings open, and the king steps out. You can almost feel the immense wash-over-you sense of relief as he steps out into the open air. And right then, this profound aha realization hits him. He just smiles at his advisor. He finally truly understands the lesson that was being taught. And this brilliantly illustrates the core moral of our source material today. If you weigh wealth and luxury on one side of the scale against freedom and respect on the other, the answer is a no-brainer. The king explicitly realized that the absolute most valuable thing in the world is freedom. Because when freedom is absent, even the grandest palaces, mountains of gold, and the most delicious food become entirely useless. You just can't enjoy wealth if you don't have the simple autonomy to choose how you experience it.
Now, the king didn't punish Tenali Rama for locking him up. Actually, scratch that, he did the exact opposite. He bowed to his wisdom. The king warmly praised his brilliance, saying, "You taught the greatest life lesson without giving a lecture." And this really highlights why experiential learning is just so incredibly powerful. Think about it. If Tenali Rama had just said the word freedom the day before, the king probably would have just nodded and moved on. But by making the king literally lose his freedom, even just for a few hours, the lesson was deeply, permanently hardwired into his psyche. It taught a universal truth in the most direct, visceral way possible.
So as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to turn this historical moral directly over to you. Have you ever traded your freedom for temporary comfort? Maybe it's a job that pays incredibly well but locks you in a metaphorical room for 80 hours a week. Or maybe it's just a comfortable routine that keeps you from pursuing what you truly want to do. The gold and the comfortable bed are always going to be tempting, but as the king learned the hard way, they mean absolutely nothing if you can't open the door. So take a moment to think about what your locked room might look like today. Thanks so much for joining me for this deep dive. Keep learning, keep questioning, and above all, keep your freedom.